am going to describe about putting in a butterfly in case there's a crack in a canoe that comes, and you can usually save it by putting in a butterfly. Sometimes what happens with a crack in a canoe, say if this is a crack, if this is allowed to crack, and then the canoe dries out, you know what happens is that crack gets wider and wider. And then so if it cracks, it's imperative to put this butterfly in as soon as you can. And this is how you do it. You cut out a butterfly like that, and then you can take it over here, and then you find the crack, and then you put the butterfly with about half of this here over the crack. Say that's the crack right there. Then you take a pencil and you trace out the whole thing like that, and like that. Make sure to keep it in the same spot. Oops. So there. Now, you can take a drill and to go right through. But what's important is to make sure that this drill is going to go straight in like that. So it's important you can use the butterfly just to set it there, just to make sure that you're going in straight. So this here should be almost right at the corner of that there like that. You can drill that right through there, and then you can take it over here also, and you can put it right in that corner, as long as the hole gets made right here. So a hole should be made right there, and right there, and the same on the bottom right here, and right here. And so what you can do here after that, after this is drilled through in these 4 places, then you can either take a jigsaw like that, and cut straight across the top there, and straight across the bottom there. And then you can take this jigsaw from here right at the corner of that and cut up to there, and then you can take it and cut down this way here, just following that there like that. And then the same going across there and there and there, and then you got to come up this side here. And then that whole thing should fall out. And now what it might be, it might be a little bit tight when you put this in there. And then so what, if it's tight, then you have a couple of tools. You have this rasp here, where you can take and you can rasp that top corner, or this bottom here, or even the side here a little bit if you need it. And then if you need to get into right into the corners like here, then you can take this round rasp like that and go in there and fix it just so that this thing fits in there. It doesn't have to be fitted exactly perfectly, because what will happen here is you'll take some of that epoxy and you'll smear it on the inside of there and also on the outside of this here. And then you add the epoxy with some fine sawdust out of a sanding bag. It's better out of a sanding bag rather than a table saw horse, because the sawdust from that is too coarse. So the best stuff is from a sanding bag, or even use flour if you have nothing else. Use flour, and then you put this in with that epoxy that's in there, and all the places where you can see air through, like you can see sometime, well, you barely see, like there's a little gap like that in there. Say if there's a gap like that when it's cut, then you can take epoxy with sawdust and force that in there on both sides, on the outside and on the inside. And then you let that harden. Even if this is sticking out just a little bit like that, that's okay. Even if it's like that on the inside too. Then once it's all hardened, then you can take a sander and you can just fare that right off. Then when you paint over it, you shouldn't even know there's a butterfly put in there. And that way it can be fitted perfectly.
Thank you.
I actually forgot to share with you, if you don't have a jigsaw, an electric one, you can use one of these things. You get a brand new one, these things, they come and they're really nice and sharp. So it might take a little while, a little bit longer, but you know, it's good exercise. You can sit here and you can exercise. There's nothing wrong with hard work. It's good for you. And sometimes you can get in there and you can do things. And you know, just keeping that on an angle like that. If you put this from there from time to time to see if you're going on the right angle like that, then you can keep that thing there and follow that line with this. And you can do that with this saw here like that. But of course, you know, it takes a little bit more. But even if you don't, you go out a little bit like that, then you can take that rasp and then you rasp that down until that whole thing fits in there almost perfectly.
Okay. What's that one called again?
This is a keyhole saw.
Keyhole saw. Perfect.